All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine. Going to be breaking down this Monday slate here for you guys. Should be an interesting one. We do have a lot of injury news to get into, and we're going to start off with that. So we're going to be touching on injuries, then the value on both FanDuel and DraftKings, touch on the top plays there, talking about ownership, kind of where the public is going at the start of this morning, and then going to be getting into a lineup process video for you guys as well. So if you guys enjoyed this coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. Just a reminder, if you guys like the tools that you see in this video, those are available by clicking the link in the description below. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start off with the injuries here. Joel Embiid, game time decision. That's the biggest one. If he sits, I'm perfectly fine with going back to Paul Reed. Paul Reed was someone that I thought would bounce back last night, and he ended up doing that. Just the previous game before that, just kind of foul trouble, and then last night went for 37 DK points. So yes, I think he'd be someone we can go back to if Joel Embiid's out. LaMelo Ball is still out. Tyrese Maxey's still out. So yeah, that's going to lead to, especially if Joel Embiid's out, that's going to lead to Melton and Milton being great values once again. And you guys will see on FanDuel, one of those players is almost a lock, which is kind of crazy. Yes, James Harden's still out as well. CJ McCollum is listed as out. Okay. And then we also have to wait on Brandon Ingram news. That could also open up some pretty good value for the Pelicans. Michael Carter, Wendell Carter, got to see about those two. Gordon Hayward listed as out. That's also kind of big. Let's see here. Mike Conley, game time decision. That could open up some value if he sits. So yeah, we got a good indication of the injuries that are going on. Let's get into the top values for the slate. So looking at right now, starting with FanDuel, this is what I'm talking about. Melton on FanDuel is just extremely cheap. I think he's firmly in play on DraftKings as well because he's a safe play. Now, yes, he is priced up enough on DraftKings to the point where you don't have to think about it. But on FanDuel, he's almost someone that you just need to lock in. And I hate to use the lock word, but that is what it kind of seems like. So he is certainly someone I'm going to be looking to play on FanDuel. And maybe even on DraftKings, but FanDuel, you just really can't avoid him. Trey Murphy for the Pelicans, yes. If that injury news happens the way we think it's going to, McCollum, Ingram, both out, then Trey Murphy would be a fine play. Jose Alvarado also would be a decent play, both on DraftKings and FanDuel. Not a must play, but someone you could certainly look at as a value price point play. Maybe someone you put in there right now in the morning, and if there isn't any better value that pops up, you'd be fine keeping him in there. Milton, yes. Milton is still too cheap on DraftKings and FanDuel. I don't really get it. What does the guy have to do to get a price bump? This is kind of like Lauri Markkanen at the start of the year where wasn't getting the price bump that he deserved for the play that he had. Sometimes these players get a huge price bump after like one really good game. It hasn't happened with Milton, so that's weird. And I know it's probably just because of injuries, but who cares if he's priced at like 8K, 7.5 when the starters come back? It's just strange. From there, Herb Jones, yes. Herbert Jones, especially against OKC, that is a game or matchup that you want to be targeting some bigs. So he is someone that firmly could be in play as well. Let's see here. Anyone else really popping up value-wise that is a little bit shocking maybe? Jalen Suggs, we got to see if Jalen Suggs is going to be active. That could open up some value. Maybe RJ Hampton would be someone you're looking at as well. Let's look at DraftKings value. So yeah, Alvarado there on DraftKings. You can see a little bit cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. That makes sense. Herb Jones slightly cheaper. Milton just way too cheap. So all the same players. I do want to pull up Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels is a very interesting play, especially on DraftKings. So the minutes have been there for him. Okay, I'm playing at guard or small forward. That's obviously something that you like. Over 20 minutes the last few games. You're not asking for a lot of points out of him. Okay, you're not. You're asking for 20 fantasy points, whether that be on FanDuel or Draft. Okay, we can see 2 out of the last 3 games he has done that. So if those 2 players are still going to be out for the Pelicans, he'd be someone that you would expect to get over 20 minutes, and you're just hoping that production continues to be there for him. Not shooting the ball enough to really be a lock and load play, but certainly someone that could be in play. And then just more of the same. Jalen McDaniels kind of popping up as a value. That makes sense. Theo popping up for Charlotte as well. Those all kind of make sense. Those are kind of more shoulder shrug plays if I end up on them. If I need a value price point play, if I'm at their salary, I'm fine ending up on them. Not exactly players I'm going out of my way to play, but if it happens, it happens. I will say Jonas Valanciunas going against the OKC Thunder. What have we been wanting to do this season, guys? Target bigs against the Thunder. Valanciunas, obviously, let's see how many minutes he gets. That's the biggest thing with him, 25. So if he does get 25 to 26 minutes, he should be able to go off. I honestly like 40 fantasy points, not out of the realm of possibilities there. So real quickly, just want to touch on the live odds and then we'll begin into ownership. So which games do we want to be targeting specifically? Well, we do see that OKC Thunder game popping up there. Chicago, Utah, Phoenix, Sacramento, and then Indy, Las Vegas. Let's see if any of those games are projected to be blowouts. Okay, Charlotte, Boston, probably want to stay away from that. Need to get news on Jason Tatum. Sat out yesterday on the front end of a back-to-back. If he does sit out again, I don't think he will, but if he does sit out again, then we're just loading up on the same Boston value. We're loading up on Marcus Smart. We're loading up on Malcolm Brogdon. We're loading up on Jaylen Brown as well. So that'd be the route that you go. Houston, Denver, that game is expected to be kind of a blowout. That's a worry there. So yeah, we kind of know what to do there. Let's get into the projected ownership. All right, so here is where the ownership is going thus far this morning for the DraftKings main slate. We can see everyone's making their builds at the start of today by going with the Pelicans value that is opened up. Okay, that just makes sense. Will they be that high income lineup block? Probably not, but will they be the highest owned players on the slate if that injury news stays the way it is? Yes. Okay. Jalen McDaniels is someone that people are liking. So let me just pull him up here and see kind of what people are loving. I guess just the projected minutes. It doesn't take much to get there. 5x, 6x at that price point with those minutes. I don't love it, but I guess early in the morning where we don't have direct value, stud plays, I guess it makes sense. I'm from there. Terry Rozier, I'm fine with that. Could usually go for 40 DK points. Jaylen Brown, yes, just kind of a lock play if he's in there. Milton, I think, needs to be the highest owned player on the slate, and maybe by lineup like he will be. Let's go into FanDuel. All right, so looking at FanDuel, yes, Melton is going to be chalked there as he should be. You're just playing him, and then once again, that value for the Pelicans is there. Tobias Harris, also someone that you just need to be playing on FanDuel. It seems like FanDuel just messed up their pricing with the Sixers, so you could easily go Melton, Tobias Harris, and I think I would just do that if I was you guys. So if you're making lineups on FanDuel, do that. Let's go down a little bit more. Anything else? Bruce Brown, I guess I'm fine with. Tatum, if active, could be someone people are looking at, and I do expect him to be active. Milton, still too cheap there as well. I think you're just playing him as well. All right, let's get into the first look build, and then I'll begin out of here for you guys. All right, so I am just going to put some of that projected value that we had on the slate in there, those top plays. Let's just double check here. Okay, so looking at the guard plays that you can be on this slate, I'm still fine with Haliburton. Like, not someone you're particularly going out of your way to play, but he's fine. Bradley Beal could be a safe, like you're locking in 40 to 45 DK points. I'm fine with that as a price point play. With Kyle Kuzma potentially sitting as well, he could be someone that you're looking at. Just more of a shoulder strike play. If you end up on him, you're perfectly fine with it. Melton as well, bad game last game, 32 DK points the game before that. Could just be that matchup with Orlando. Could be one of those weird things. Is priced up, but could be a strong play for you on this slate. Jordan Clarkson been a consistent fantasy producer with Mike Conley out. So if Mike Conley's still out, someone you could look at there. Jamal Murray, kind of one of my favorite sneaky plays, I think, on the slate. 2 of his last 3 games, over 40 DK points, gets a good matchup with Houston. The worry with Houston is that we saw that the game could be a blowout. And really with NBA games, you don't know when it's going to be a blowout. It's just really just trying to figure out. It's not even trying to figure out anything. It's just when will the blowout occur? Will it occur to the point where the final rotations aren't coming? That's the biggest issue. Or will it occur throughout the game where they can shave off minutes from players here and there? That's the biggest worry. But if he is going to be game, let's just say over 30 minutes in this matchup at 7K, that's a very cheap price point. He's a player that I think I'm going to be going out of my way to play. Kelly Oubre been a very consistent fantasy producer with all those players out. Okay. Still at this price point, it seems pretty cheap. And I love the fact that you can play him at the guard or forward spot. He is someone I'm looking to play. I just haven't really been able to figure out a good lineup path to play him just yet. Once again, Malcolm Brogdon would firmly be in play if Jason Tatum were to sit. And that's kind of it. Let's get into forwards real quick. For a game that has a high over and under, DeMar DeRozan does seem very cheap, especially for a guy that lately has been lighting it up. Okay, so that's a high over and under game, over 230. At 8.2, this does seem like a short price point, a small price point for him, especially given the fact that he is averaging over 40 DK points and over the last few games just been dominating. So I think this is a very strong price point play. You can play him at power forward or small forward. Zion Williamson, I think a lot of people are going to end up playing him, and I do get it. Like if he gets 50 DK points, that wouldn't be shocking at all. Kind of just struggled in the last game, DK point wise, and he had a fine night. Just wasn't like a dominant night. Okay, the minutes are no longer restricted as well, so we could see him get up to 35 minutes. Not exactly a matchup you're worried about. So yes, he is someone I think is firmly in play. Ben Simmons still someone you can play. Kelly Oubre, I already mentioned. I like him as a play. Georges you can play if Embiid's out. I don't hate it. Not something I love. And then getting into the centers, I still think Paul Reed, a cheap price point play. You could easily play him. Obviously, you have a lot of salary left over in this scenario. Vooch hasn't had many upside games lately, but a very safe 30 DK point play maybe gives you upside to go for more than that. Not a terrible play. And I do like J Val as well. If you end up on him, I'm fine with that as well. So with this particular their build. Let's go up from Daniels. Let's put Murray in there in that guard spot. And then let's see how much salary we have left over. 6.9. Let's see who we can end up on here. Kelly Oubre. Sure. There we go. Figured it out. A pretty decent looking first look build here for you guys. All right, but that's all we have for you guys for this first look morning video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give a like and subscribe. That helps us be able to put out more content for you guys. When the lineup lock comes, make sure that you are in the Discord chat. Link to that is in the description below, as well as the link to all the tools that you saw available in this video. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and good luck tonight.